Good evening, everyone. It's been a while, so I'm just going to wait for a few of you to get the little alert from your social media to tell you that I am on. It's always the awkward bit where I still talk because some of you will be watching this on catch up. So if you are on, drop us a comment. Let us know that you are there. Hi, Sue. How are you doing? Thanks for joining tonight. Hi, Natalie. How are you? Good to have you here. Hi, Kate. Hi. I'm going to do... Oh, Claire. Hello. How you doing, love? Long time no see. And hi, Sue and Jordan. I can see loads of you joining. Excellent. Good. I've not been left hanging. It's a little bit creaky because it's been such a long time. But I'm feeling brave, and I have got the wonderful Aaron supporting me. He's now a noun. The wonderful Aaron supporting me in the background. So I feel a bit more confident in giving this a bash. So tonight I'm going to start certainly doing some evidential mediumship for you all. So evidential mediumship is connecting to loved ones in the spirit world who want to come in and give evidence of their continued existence and share messages and let you know that they're still around. Now, one of the things that I always say, and if you've ever seen me demonstrate in person or online, you will know that I say this every time, is your loved ones in the spirit world. They have heard you. If you have sent out that thought straight away of, oh my goodness, Dad, well, if it's you, I want you to say purple banana peel. They have heard you with your requests. They know what you are asking for. However, your loved ones in the spirit world no longer have a voice box. It sounds obvious, but then when you watch things like Ghost Whisperer and Medium and things like that, and the way that us mediums talk about communicating with spirit, we often talk about hearing and them speaking, and they are speaking to us energetically. But for me, with my gifts, I don't hear them as a separate entity to me. So what that means is they are sending me an energy, and I am doing my best to interpret that energy. So within that, I ask you please to comment if it is true, if it feels correct to you. Now, if there's a load of things that you can't take, I ask you please to not comment, because this is one of the things that put me off doing mediumship in a public forum like this, is people commenting so much that I couldn't keep up with it. Now, Aaron is going to do his best to filter through your comments, but please, when I ask if you can understand everything that I've said, if you can comment everything, I understand everything, or just the word everything, that gives us an idea of whether there's, just one of you who can understand it, or I've got a whole load of people and I need to do a bit of a better job. So I hope that that makes sense. We'll work it out as we go. Give me a moment here, and I'm just going to move my mind over to spirit. Right, I have got a dad stepping forward with me here, and I do want to talk about Dad passing too soon, and he moves into spirit. There's something to do with digestive issues or his stomach area. It feels like he's quite uncomfortable, and he's been uncomfortable for quite a long time. And I do really feel this is, stomach, digestion. There's something not working the way that it should. And this is a long-term illness that becomes something he lives with for quite a while, but gets worse and worse and worse, and results in his passing. So I can really feel that energy around my stomach. I know that I'm right with that. There's something definitely around, not that you can see me, but around here, that I know that I'm dealing with. And within that, there's this frustration with Dad, because number one, up until getting this illness, I do feel that he is very able-bodied. He is he's a man's man. He likes to be able to do things. He likes to be able to take care of everybody else. He feels like he's very much in that kind of patriarchic space. So I know that this is important to him. It's an important part of his personality that he is in charge and he is in control, but I also know that this illness frustrates him. It also frustrates him because Dad loves food, and he has to go on some sort of limited or changed, quite strict diets, I feel, as a result of this illness, and that frustrates him too. So you would understand with Dad, he passes too soon. I do want to talk about him having moved into spirit way before he should have. I know that there's stomach issues here. I know this is something that he is dealing with for quite a long time. And I know that it suddenly escalates. It feels like it moves suddenly much quicker, much more difficult for him. And there's this frustration. I do know that he moves into spirit following being in hospital or a medical environment. So if it's a hospice, forgive me, but I do know that he's having medicine. I know that there's tubes attached to him, and I know that he is frustrated and in pain. So this feels like a welcome relief for him when he moves into spirit. Is anyone with me yet? Have we got anyone that can recognize Dad here? It would be helpful if you could let me know if you can understand everything that I have said. So I have got a Dad in spirit here. He passes from stomach related issues, something that he has been struggling with for a long time, but it suddenly escalates. And this eating, this stomach issue here would be putting him on a restricted diet. There would be a feeling of having to change what he's eating and a frustration from him that he would have shared. He is not happy because food, he lives for food, does your Dad. So if you understand that, if you can pop everything on. Okay, Therese, excellent. Good. Thank you very much, Therese. I'm glad to know that you can understand everything. So you understand Dad moving into spirit here, and this feeling, I'm just going to move the comments so they're not moving and putting me off. This feeling with him of being a very practical, able man feels very important, Therese. So stick with me and we'll see if I'm with you. So if you can just keep letting us know if it makes sense, that would be really good. So Dad, very practically minded. I know that he is very able. He would be very able to do DIY and man-like jobs that I'm being very stereotypical here, but I know that there's a real sense of pride with him of being the man that can fix things, that can repair things. He feels like he is very, very knowledgeable in that, and he's very proud of his tools. So I want to talk here about him having a very well cared for, very organized, or very well looked after and loved set of tools that he leaves behind. Would you understand this, Therese? Because there's this feeling of everything being in its place and everything being well looked after, everything being well oiled, and him knowing exactly where stuff is. So he's got this knowledge of how to fix things and all of the tools to do the jobs as well. So there's this frustration with him when he becomes unwell that he's making me aware of here, where he is unable to do the fixings that he wants to and do the things that he wants to do to repair stuff because he is struggling. And there's a real stubborn nature with Dad as well I need to talk about. I know that he is very determined. He would have carried on in spite of his illness, still fixing things, mending things and doing things until it gets too bad for him. And this feels like a frustration with him. So again, this feeling of he's a lovely man. He is not a fluffy man. He is not a man that would talk about feelings. He's not going to go all gooey on you. He loves his family, and family are very important to him, but he is showing me a lot of stubbornness in his nature and a lot of frustration at not being able to do things that he wants to do, and frustration at leaving things undone. There would have been jobs he didn't get to finish, Therese. Do you understand that? Because again, that feels frustrating for him, that he's not able to get things done. Now, I do want to talk about him being well loved, and I know that there is this gathering around him as he moves into spirit where I can see, and there's it feels like it's girl heavy around him, Therese. So would you understand that you've either got sisters or there's a lot of women around him as he moves into spirit world? Because it just feels like a very female heavy gathering of people with him as he moves into spirit. And this feeling of him just being such a strong and able man, it feels very shocking, his passing. Even though he's been unwell for such a long time, it feels like it's escalated, it's got quick, and to see him looking so drawn and grey, I feel is very shocking and upsetting for everybody. Now, I do know that as he moves into spirit, I need to talk here about his hands being held. I can feel somebody stroking the back of my hand, and it does feel very peaceful. So there's this sense of frustration that it's going the way that it is, this feeling of bless them, he can't quite believe it, but also being in a lot of pain. And I know that he is ready to go. I know that he has struggled and he really has had enough. So this feels important as well. Therese, would you understand mum being in spirit also? Because I need to talk about them being reunited. So there's a feeling of the two of them being together that I want to acknowledge here. And that feels important to acknowledge that they're together somehow. It's like he wants to say that he, right, I'm not sure if I'm getting this a little bit wrong, Therese. I'm not sure. It just feels like he's wanting to acknowledge being with mum. So I'm not sure whether mum is here or there, and now I'm getting in the way and interfering with it. But there would be he's with mum. I really need to acknowledge mum is in spirit. Okay, just getting in my own way then. Because I know that I want to acknowledge them being together, and this feeling of togetherness feels very, very important that I need to acknowledge. Okay. Now, I feel like there's a lot of stuff of dad's that needs to be sorted out following his passing. So I want to acknowledge here that even though he was unwell, that again, with this stubbornness of him, there is this feeling of not wanting to acknowledge that it's time to go, or that going is even a possibility. There's this feeling of leaving it all. So I know that there's a lot of sorting out that has to happen following his passing, because again, he's in denial. So I know that I can see all of this sorting out that has to take place. And I'm seeing records here. So I don't know if he left a collection of vinyl records, Therese, but that's what I'm picking up from him here is just lots of stuff, lots of belongings and things that he would have sorted out had he known, but equally he was in denial. So that's how I've got to acknowledge that. Right. Now, I do want to talk about him being gone many years. It feels like he's been in spirit quite some time. And this feeling of wanting you to know that they are with you and guiding you. There's a feeling of support. So there's a feeling of needing you to know that they are with you, a feeling of needing you to know that they are supporting you. It feels like you're going through a difficult or a stressful time in some way, Therese, and they're wanting to let you know that they are supporting you and helping you on this path. So a real feeling here from spirit of absolute love, a letting you know that they're together, a letting you know that they are supporting you and with you, and a feeling of it's all going to be okay. That's what they want you to know, not to worry. It's all going to be okay. So I hope that that makes sense. Thanks for working with me, Therese. You're my first live link in a long, long time. So it's been really lovely. Thank you for getting back to us so quickly and letting us know that that made sense. Right. Let me just take a moment to disconnect and reconnect. Do you know, 60 years ago, good grief, that is a long time, Therese. I'm gonna say this, I am not an animal communicator, guys. I'm not. It's not my forte, and yet here I am with a big black dog. So yahoo! You'd think Spirit would make it easy with for my first one back, but it appears not. This is oh god, do you get black Alsatians? Something that would look like a black Alsatian. I'm not very good with dog breeds unless they're sight hounds. But I need to talk about a dog here with very pointy black ears and very black fur, long fur, and it's a big dog. It's a big one. And this feels important. And that is an interesting one. So let me just build some power with this lovely dog who is coming in with me here. Right. This is a dog that you would have had since it was a puppy. He is a boy. I'm going to call him a he. He has been with you his whole life. And there is a feeling here of him needing to be put to sleep and needing to go. And I need to talk to you here about he's got a squeaky toy with him in spirit, which feels important to him because he keeps chewing it and squeaking it. So I need to talk about that being with him. I'm seeing it as bone shaped, but that might be my imagination. So if you have got a dog that you have laid to rest and there'll be a connection with, I know all dogs have squeaky toys before you all come for me, but I feel like there's one in memory of him or connected with him in some way after his passing, it feels important to acknowledge. And I need to talk as well about him. He would have worn like a bandana or a scarf or something a bit fancy. You would have got him to go around his neck, and this feels important too. And he would have gone he could have had longer if he'd lived to his full life expectancy. But for various reasons, and there is arthritis here, but there's something else going on with him as well. He is put to sleep. And I know that he is trying to let you know that it's okay. And he's a really, really intelligent, really, really good boy. And he's coming over and he's just putting one paw on my leg. So this would be something he would have done. He's not scratching or moving around. He's very still and he is just placing it on my leg. So I know that that is something you would remember with him. There's he's got an R name, I think. It might be Ralph. I might have just there's a Mark Rolfe on the screen, so I might be it's a very interesting thing with mediumship. You can get in the way of it. But I do feel like there's something connected that might sound similar to that in connection with him. And I'm gonna look up dog breeds later. He's got really pointy ears that stick up from the top. He's very inquisitive, very, very clever. My dogs are not clever. He is clever. Ali, you can take this. You have his bandana, and you would understand him moving into spirit. Bless him. It feels like you would have decided that for him. And he is wanting you to know that that is the right choice for him. That is the choice that he needed you to make. Within that, there is also a feeling of him letting you know that he's in your home. So he is still present. So you would be feeling him. It's almost like you look down to see him and then you remember that he's not there because you're feeling his spirit in your home. So Ali, can you let me know if that's been happening too? Because I can just see him wanting to let you know that he's around, wanting to let you know that he's there. There would also be have you got another dog since his passing, or there's talk of getting another dog? Because I wanna talk about that, him being very excited, about another dog. It feels like a replacement, but not in a horrible way, in a really loving way. So there's an acknowledgement from him there of that was the right thing, that is the right thing, that he's wanting you to know that he's around and he's seeing it. So and he would have been cremated, um, and his ashes, I think you've kept some of them, but you've scattered most. Does that make sense? I feel like he's in the wind. He's showing me in the breeze outside, but it feels like there's some that's been kept. I don't know if that makes sense to you, Ali, or anyone else who is watching. But he's definitely here for somebody. He's this big, beautiful, furry, black, very intelligent, very sharp-minded dog, which is not my usual thing. You'd think spirit would make it easy, but they're not. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't want to slow it down too much by waiting for you to comment. The dog was my mum's. She had another dog afterwards. You feel your cat in spirit. Does anyone else recognise this dog? Sorry, Ali, just bear with me because I just feel like oh my God, we had a black dog named Rubbish. My dad found him as a puppy in a pile of rubbish. Hilarious. I love that naming of a dog, Kim. Is there anyone that understands everything I've said that would be able to write, I understand everything, because then that just helps us to know we're with the right person. So it's a black dog, very pointy ears, very intelligent, looks to me like a black Alsatian. I might be getting breeds muddled up here, so please don't hold it against me. Very furry, lots and lots of fur. Would have been had since a puppy, until a reasonable age, but not an old age. He would have moved into spirit too soon after being put to sleep because he is in discomfort. And this feels like it's really important because the sadness that putting him to sleep would still be there, wondering if it was the right thing. I do everything apart from it was a she. Have I got your gender wrong? This is why I don't do animal communications, guys, because if you get a man in spirit, it's a man in spirit. What am I supposed to do with a dog? Lift its tail up? Let me have a little look. You know, Rachel, thank you, but I do feel like it's a boy. I am feeling like he's a boy. And yeah, there's a connection with a bandana. There's this squeaky toy. I don't know if he's laid to rest with a squeaky toy. There's some sort of memorial squeaky toy situation that I want to talk about. I don't know if he's cremated with it or something like that, but that feels important. Feels important to acknowledge. His ashes have been scattered apart from a little bit that has been kept for some reason. And he's a really intelligent, really good boy. And just this paw, he keeps putting his paw on my leg and holding it ever so still. So he's not like my two that are all arms and legs and whirling dervishes. This is a very sensible, very clever, very intelligent, very still boy. And I need to acknowledge that with him here. And there would be something to do with an R name. Rufus, Ralph, I'm getting in the way because I'm seeking, but it will be something like that I want to acknowledge, but he definitely feels like a boy to me. Really intelligent, dark brown eyes, very beautiful, turning his head to one side and looking at me. And this feeling of this presence with him in the house. Okay. Well, I'm not going to keep pushing it. He's here for somebody. If you don't want to comment on a Facebook Live, that's absolutely fine. If you can message me, just so I know, that would be great. He's definitely here for somebody. But you know, I'm going to try and go back to humans because they're my forte. I'm not such a dog whisperer. But he's definitely here. So much fur. It's like having I don't know, a furry thing right here. So much fur coming off him. He's an absolutely pitch black, gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Possibly seeing a little tiny patch of white, but the rest of him is just completely black. Okie dokes. Humans, let's go back to humans. Humans in spirit who aren't really human anymore, you know, comfy. Right. I've got a grandmother and grandfather stepping forward today. It's the grandmother that I'm communicating with, but they are both here and I need to acknowledge their presence. I do feel like these two would have moved into spirit very close to each other. So one of them would have passed and the other one would have joined pretty swiftly afterwards, and that feels important to acknowledge. She is a knitter. There's I can hear the clicky clacky of needles here. So I know that this is something that she would always like to do. This feels important to her. And as I'm watching her, she's still knitting in the spirit world. She is knitting for a baby that is coming. I think they're coming. So she's letting you know that she would be preparing. They may be newborn, but they're certainly just arriving here. And there's this feeling of her knitting and wanting everybody to know that she is still in spirit, because there's been a conversation had that they won't get something made by her when everybody in the family has had something made by her to register their birth. And this baby is being born here, and there's this feeling of, what a shame Nan's not around, because she'd have knitted some booties, and she wants to acknowledge that she still is. They're just energetic booties. She's still going to slip them on, and this feels important. Now, she's elderly when she moves into the spirit world, so she is old. I want to talk about her being a ripe old age. She's got teeth missing or false teeth, something like that going on in her mouth. She is a tough old boot, and you would never say that to her face, because she'd have hit you with a wooden spoon. But she's got that kind of personality. So she's very tough-minded, very old school, kind of don't make a fuss, don't whinge about things, just get on with it. She's got that kind of energy that I want to acknowledge with her here. And I know that her and her husband have been together for a long, long time. They would have met when they were teenagers. So they've been married years and years and years and years. And they live in this very small house that they have lived in for years and years and years. So this feeling of this house sort of remaining the same. So there would have been, this is so weird, but I'm going to give it anyway. There would have been a couch, sofa change. But aside from that, the house pretty much stays the same throughout all of the history since time began. She's very proud of her house. She keeps it very shipshape, but she isn't worried about spending money on things they don't need. It would be one of those houses that's got lots of dark, old-fashioned furniture in it that didn't really go with anybody's houses when they moved into spirit. But no, people have kept pieces of furniture from their house that don't match anything else in their homes, but they've kept these pieces because it reminds them of them. But it doesn't go with your house. You've got modern furniture and then a really antiquated bureau in your living room that doesn't match, because you couldn't let it go because it was theirs. So there would be a feeling of that there that I want to acknowledge. Now, she had lots of siblings. I think she's one of 7. Forgive me if I've got that slightly wrong, but I'm seeing lots and lots of siblings here, and a real feeling that all bar, I think there is one still here, but the majority of the siblings are in the spirit world. And she feels like she would have been an older sister, because she would have looked after the younger ones in her childhood, and she's very, very good with babies. She's old-fashioned with how she looks after them, but she's very, very good with them. And so this is her thing. She would be she would, like, she'd be the one you want to go to ask for advice about. She'd have some old wives kind of, your baby's got nappy rash, put egg white on it. I don't even know if that's the thing, but that's what I'm feeling, like that kind of old school thing. So does anyone recognize this lovely couple? She's much more talkative. He is very quiet. She's definitely the one in charge. And this feeling of them being reunited after what feels like quite a short separation when one of them moves into spirit. She's a very tough, independent-minded lady. She's nicely dressed, don't get me wrong, but she's not really worried about what she looks like. She has her hair permed, but she doesn't fuss about makeup or anything like that. She's got this stalwart, strong, no use crying over spilt milk kind of personality. She would have been one of many. So she's got many, many siblings. Some went into spirit when they were children. Some lived to adulthood. There's this feeling of her outliving some of the younger ones, not just the childhood ones, adult younger ones. And yeah, her being she loves children, she loves looking after children, she loves babies, but she's very practical and straight-laced with it. She's a no-nonsense lady. You wouldn't mess around and be naughty because she'd have you. You knew when you went there that you were to behave, but it doesn't mean there's no love there. She's still very loving. She just doesn't take any you know what, and I'm not going to say it in front of her because she wouldn't put up with swearing. That is true. So I'm not going to get a cliff around the ear from a spirit tonight. Not yet, anyway. There's still time. So I know that she is. She's shown me taking pills here, and I do feel like she's got something going on with her heart, some sort of irregular beat with her heart that I want to acknowledge. So again, yeah, and breathing difficulties. So she gets short of breath, and there's something doing with arrhythmia. Something going on with the beat of her heart that she has to take medication for. But a very, very tough, determined lady, and she would always be on the go. She's very petite. She's very frail but tough, and I need to acknowledge that in her because she's always on the go. And even when she's nearing the end of her life, she still wouldn't want anyone else to put on the kettle or do anything at her home. She would be the one that, if you went to visit her, you would take care. She would take care of you. This feels really important. No one commenting?
We've got 4 people at the minute, Hannah, but I think at the minute you're looking. 4 people have claimed that it could be with them.
Okay.
But it seems most likely it might be with Sarah at the minute.
Okay. So if you're commenting, can you just let us know if everything makes sense? I need to know that everything I've said makes sense, and then we'll work through it if all 4 of you are like, no, there's one thing. So we've got this really tough, strong-minded lady. She's been with her husband for years and years and years and years and years. They move into spirit very close within each other's passing, because there's a conversation about, what are we going to do? How can one live without the other? But it's also, are they going to be okay in their house? Because she doesn't go into a home or a care institution or anything like that. She would have stayed in her house until the end of her days. She may have passed in hospital, but she didn't need any, she didn't need to change her home, and that feels important to her because she wouldn't have liked that. And this feeling of, even though my hands hurt, I'm still going to carry on. And knitting, she's constantly, even when she's sitting, she's going, and that feels really, really important to acknowledge. Has anyone acknowledged everything, Aaron?
Wendy has.
Okay. So if you can just comment everything for us, guys, then that would really just help me to understand. So, my nan, very much in charge, and my granddad not long after had white curls. Yeah, so she'd have a perm or have it, she's got what I would call, Wendy, old lady hair, which sounds a little rude, but it's just the best way of describing it. So I hope that makes sense. Very, very determined. And Wendy, would you understand there being a forthcoming birth, or one that has just happened, where there would have been this conversation about the baby not having something made for it? Because this feels important, because she is in spirit with her needles clacking, because she is making stuff from the spirit world for that baby, and that feels really, really important. So there would be Let me just recap, because there's been a lot there, hasn't there, guys? So we've got a couple in spirit here. Man and wife passed very close within each other, with one of them passing, the other one goes soon after. They lived in their home for a long, long time. They were married for decades. They would have met when they were teenagers. She's very much in charge. She knows how she likes things. She's very, very opinionated, very this is how I want things, no nonsense, no messing around. She wears the trousers. Your grandfather is here, but he is much quieter, as it would have been in what I always call real life, in physical life, sort of letting her take center stage. She is the one that talks. There's this real feeling of defiant independence with her. I know she's got a heart condition. Her heart is beating irregularly. She would have had difficulty breathing, and she would have been on medication for her heart arrhythmia, I think it's called, where I want to talk about her beat being out. There's also this feeling of my teeth not quite fitting in my face. So I know that she either had false teeth or some sort of dental issue that I need to acknowledge here. Does anybody understand everything I've said? I also want to talk about connection with the name Mary. All the rest spot on. She would always knit for new baby, but not aware of one. Only the last few weeks. Okay. I'll be interesting to know if you can take that name, a connection with the name Mary as well, Wendy. There's a real feeling with her. Just checking if I've got it wrong. There would have been a conversation or something. She's very defiant about not wanting to be in a home. Feels really important, Wendy. Can you let me know if you would understand that? Because I feel that she's very defiant in her I didn't want to go into a home. I will not go into a home. There's something argumentative, or not in a childish way, but just very definitive with her about being in a home that I need to acknowledge. And I have to acknowledge the baby. I know you're saying you're not aware of one. Hope I'm not dropping spoilers, because she is immovable. Is there anybody that can understand everything? Mary and Barry. Okay. Right. So, Sarah, excellent. Let me just, it's always really hard on a live to work out where I'm at. Sarah, can you let me know if you can understand everything? Is there anything you can't understand? And that Wendy, she left there very quickly, only went 2 weeks and passed away. Okay. Let me just... Wendy, can you take the name Mary? This is why it's hard on lives, because you have to wait. And I know that there is a delay between StreamYard and you lot seeing it, which doesn't help. But time and space is an illusion, guys. So we just have to work through it. The only one is siblings. Okay, Sarah, do you understand her having lots of children then? Because I want to talk about there being, it feels like multiples and ones that she takes care of. And this feels important. Like, and I mean a lot. I don't mean like 3 kids. I mean like 7. Feels like a lot. That feels very important. And I can feel them on the family tree. So I know that they're there. I can accept that I might put them in the wrong place, but they are definitely, there's definitely like a big group that I'm aware of. Okay. Just trying to hold my power with her. There will also be a ring of hers that has been passed on that I need to acknowledge here. So Wendy is still taking it, isn't she? No teeth. False teeth, many grandchildren, 8 kids, 4 great-grandchildren. My dad's mum is Mary. Okay, right, so let me try and get something. Huge family. My mum has the ring. Okay, Bear with me, Sarah and Wendy. Let me try and get something so I can differentiate between the two of you. She is showing me a ceramic figurine. Oh, she's really breathless. It's really impacting me. So there would be a ceramic figurine that has been kept that was hers. So somebody, if you can understand that for me, that would be really great. So we've got this wonderful lady. I'm just holding my power with her, which is why I'm still talking, to keep it going, keep the blend going. I have got this wonderful grandmother energy here. She is in spirit with her husband. They would have been married for a long, long time. I'm talking 50 years plus. I know that they passed very quickly within each other. I know that they lived in the same house for years and years and years and years and years, and there were not many changes in that house. Okay, I feel like I want to talk about, this large line on the family tree of children that she would have taken care of. So 8 kids of her own would make sense. I know there's this ring that is passed on, that's kept in the family, and there is also this china figurine that I need to talk about, that is, I don't know if it's out or wrapped up, but I feel like it is kept and put safely. It was hers. It was in her living room, and it has now. Okay, Wendy, excellent. Thank you, Wendy. Yeah, in 70s from age 18, same house. Okay, excellent. Thanks, Wendy, for bearing with me. And apologies, Sarah. I'm going to work with Wendy. Oh, let's take a big breath and let me just work in with her a little bit more. Okay, so I'm really getting with her, Wendy, really flowery smell. So I don't know if she wore a very floral perfume. It smells to me like hand cream or something like that, but there's this smell that I would associate, that I hope you associate with her, this flowery, florally. It's because my teeth aren't fitting in my head because I've got hers in. Flowery, florally smell that I can acknowledge, which is her presence. And the reason why she's wanting to acknowledge that is because she's been bringing that smell to you. So you would be, you would be smelling that smell. And that is her. If you're smelling flowers, she's letting you know that she's around. Now, she brings that why can't I speak this evening? This determined energy, and she is bringing you that determined energy, Wendy, and that feels important. So there's this feeling of wanting you to have strength at the moment, and a feeling of wanting you to know that sometimes it's important not to back down. Now, I know that she, come hell or high water, is not the kind of lady that would ever back down. I know this. And I know that there is sometimes a worry of being a little bit too much like that and being too strong-minded and too determined. I understand that. But I do feel that she is bringing that determination for you. So there's, I know, Wendy, that she's telling me that you try to not cause drama, not cause problems, but sometimes you have to draw a line in the sand, and sometimes you have to be determined and defiant to get what you want. And that is the energy that she is bringing. She wants you to know that she wants you to not go backwards. There's this, I hope this makes sense to you, Wendy, this feeling of not being able to go back, not being able to take a step back. You're not allowed to go back into the old energy. She is there like a energetic gatepost, not allowing you to move back. This feeling of wanting you to move forward and being very determined and strong-willed in it. I think, now I've lost the plot. I think you were saying that there was no news of a baby. There will be news of a baby because So please act surprised when they tell you. And don't be like, oh, Hannah spoiled that, because, wouldn't want to be that person, but she is very determinedly showing me booties. So I know that she is acknowledging that. And a real feeling of pride in all of the family. You know how important family is to her and the family tree. And she just wants you all to know that she is definitely keeping tabs on you all. So you better behave yourselves. She is around and watching. Thank you, Wendy, for working with me. And apologies, Sarah. Sometimes it just takes me a little while, especially on here where I can't see or feel where I am, to get the right person. Okay, let's do one more. Where are we going to go now? Right, I have got a young man stepping forward with me here, and this does feel like a son. And I need to talk about this son passing into spirit, late teens, possibly early 20s. Is what I would call a young man. And I do need to talk about him taking his own life. And I want to talk here about this being obviously deeply upsetting and deeply shocking. I know that there is this feeling here of a brother and a sister that he has left behind here. So there would be 3 children, 2 boys, 1 girl, and one of the sons sadly takes his own life. And there is a feeling here of wanting to acknowledge, I think there's a connection here with the name Steve or Stephen, something like that. And he's wanting to acknowledge here, this would be very, very shocking, very, very unexpected, because there would be no signs. You might have known that he was in a bit of a funk, but you wouldn't have thought that things were as bad as they were. And there is an acknowledgement from him that this feels very sudden for him too. So it's a very sudden, very unexpected. He didn't ask for help because it is like a tidal wave coming in with him that I need to acknowledge. And I do believe that he is found by a member of the close family. So that would be of that little unit that he is found by. And there is this deep sorrow from his soul for the damage caused by that situation that I need to acknowledge here. So I do feel that we are looking here at somebody who passes late teens, early 20s, but I think we're talking about 20 years ago. Feels like he's been in spirit for quite a long time. This doesn't feel, yeah, it's raw and it's horrendous and it's upsetting, but it doesn't feel like the energy of where it was. So we've got this young man here who takes his own life, and it is unexpected. It is sudden. And again, I want to talk about this feeling of people being shocked that he didn't ask for help, that people knew that he was having a bit of a difficult time, but it was just a bit of a difficult time. And for this extreme situation to come out of it is really horrendous for everybody that is left. There is a feeling here I want to acknowledge of him in his mum's house. There is there's a memorial sort of area for him with a photo, and there's an angel, and there is a candle that is lit. And this feeling of him being recognized and remembered and brought into the family. So even though he's done this terribly upsetting thing that has caused so much trauma to so many people, he is still loved, and he wants to acknowledge that presence. There is also an acknowledgement here of he's become an uncle in the spirit world. So his siblings have had children, and his name would have been carried on with one of those children. There would be an acknowledgement of him being continued in the family and remembered in the family. So a feeling again of wanting you guys to know that he is healed and whole, and he is okay. He is with his grandmother, who I believe passes after him. So there is this connection here with, his grandmother And there is so much love there. Of course, she clipped him around the ear because of everything that he'd done to the family, but this feeling of wanting you guys to know that everybody is together. There's this feeling. There's also an uncle that I need to acknowledge in spirit, this feeling of just everybody being together and wanting you guys to know that. Wanting you guys to know that he is not off and separate. Is this making sense to anybody, please? Don't leave me hanging, guys. Within that, hang on, let me just get my power back with him. Got this young man, this lovely young man in spirit, this shocking passing. He's having a difficult time, but it's not desperately unhappy. He's got his siblings, he's become an uncle. We have getting all of this lovely area set with his mum. His nan's in spirit with him that I'm seeing here. Dreams. Okay, excellent. Thank you, Carmel. I want to talk here, Carmel, about dreams. I don't know if you've been dreaming about him, but it feels like there's this acknowledgement that he is around. And the reason why you're dreaming of him is because he is around. And this feeling of wanting you guys to know that he's okay. Really wanting everybody to know that he is okay. It feels really important. Like the reason why he's stepping forward today is because people worry about him, and he doesn't want people to worry about him because he is actually okay. He's sad about the choices that he made that devastated his family. He's had to watch the results of the choices he made from spirit. But within that, there is also an acknowledgement of he's okay. Please don't worry about me. I'm okay. It's easier over there than it is here. And wanting to acknowledge his presence in and around everybody. And he's so loved. And it just, there's this feeling here from spirit of, it's such a shame, isn't it, as human beings, that we don't realize how loved we are. Because if he had realized how loved he was and how cared for he was, he would never, ever have made the choices that he made. But that's depression, isn't it? It cuts you off from that stuff. So a real acknowledgement here of the devastation caused and sadness by that, and letting you know that he is okay. His soul regrets causing so much pain and so much hurt, so much suffering, but he is with his family and hasn't missed any of it. And this feels really important to acknowledge that he's saying that he's quite a confident lad. He wants to acknowledge that there is nothing anyone could have done. It feels very sudden, very unexpected. His decision is made very, it sounds callous to say, but on a whim. It's very quick. He doesn't ask for help because he is loved and he could have, but he chooses not to because it's so quick. And then his soul gets to see the devastation caused for everybody else, and he realizes the results of the choices he makes. So he wants you guys to know he's still around. Obviously, he knows that you've named your child after him. This feeling of still being present, still being around, still loving everybody, and just wanting you guys to know that he is okay and he is with you all. So thank you very much, Carmel. Shall we end with a few cards, guys? Would anyone like a card? What I'm going to do is I'm going to get Aaron to just, if you comment and let me know if you'd like a card, and I will get Aaron to click on people at random, and then we'll just do a few more just to finish up the time. And yeah, hopefully I'll be doing a few more of these. I'll see how I recover after this one. And seeing you all, because I do miss doing lives terribly. Hi, Teely. Let me just get you a card. Let me have a look. Oh, you've got Awakening. Isn't that an exciting card? So lots of change happening within you. I feel that Spirit are really drawing close with you with this card. So spiritual awakening, there's that presence of Spirit really close within your life, standing really near you. So an acknowledgement here that is Spirit. You are getting those signs and symbols and that feeling of presence with Spirit with you. Yeah, it's subtle, but it's there. That is them letting you know that they are around you and with you. And knowing that while you're going through this big change, be kind to yourself. It's a really difficult thing going through what you're going through. So allow yourself to go through it. Allow yourself to experience it in whatever way you need to, without sort of forcing yourself to do things. There's almost like a judgment I want to talk about coming in here with you. Like you keep saying, what's wrong with me? Why am I needing so much sleep? Why do I not feel like going out? Why do I feel like this? And it's because your energy is shifting and changing. So allow that change to take place. It won't be forever. And I promise you it'll be worth it, and it'll bring you even closer to Spirit. So I hope that helps. Anyone else? Hello, Cindy. Let me pick you a card. Oh, planning for the long term, abundance from past choices. That's exciting. You've got the 3 of Wands. So this is all about working out where you want to be, and utilizing the energy that you have already built up in the past to get you where you want to be. So I was talking to someone about this earlier, funnily enough. If you offer the universe the flibbity gibbet, if you just say, I don't know what I want, they'll respond with, well. So what you need to be, Cindy, is very definitive about what you want, how you want it to be, what you're expecting, what your wish list is. Be really into the specifics of it and how you want it to feel, how you want it to be, where you want to be, what you want to be experiencing, and then just allow the energy you've already built with all of that work that you've been putting in and doing to take you where you want to go. It feels very, very exciting. Planning for the long term. Okay, one more, please, Aaron. I'll have a vowel, please, Aaron. Right, Sharon. I would like a card, please. Let me have a look for you, Sharon. Falling in love. 2 of Cups, or the resurgence of a romantic relationship. This feels, okay. Don't give up on people you love. It feels like there's a shifting energy with you here, Sharon. You're moving in. I hate it when mediums say stuff like this, but I'm going to say it anyway. You're moving into a new chapter. It feels like I want to ask you, whatever you're bringing with you into this new phase, it's a bit like moving house, but you're moving energetically. So whatever you take with you into this next chapter, it's up to you. So just like when we pack up our house and we realize we've got a skip full of shite that we don't need and that we chuck out before we leave, it feels like you need to be having this clearing, this space creating. You need to not worry about the external, but focus on the internal, and that will bring you the resurgence of romance that apparently you are looking for. So do a bit of energy clearing on yourself, spend a bit of time sitting with you, clear out things in your home. That's always where I start. I'd love to be more spiritual than that, but I start by clearing out my home, and then that gets my energy into a clearing space, and then I start to work through my stuff and the things that I need to work through, sitting with yourself, being present with yourself, listening to the dialogue that you are saying to yourself, and allowing that to all be rewritten, ready for it's like I want you to run a new program into the new chapter. I hope that makes sense. Okay, guys, well, I'm going to end it there. My voice is going. I hope that you have enjoyed it. If you make sure you follow the page, because I am intending to do some more of these, and I hope to see you again very, very soon. Thank you very much for watching.